friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead. Today we're going to make an old favorite. Today we're going to make spaghetti and meatballs. But let's start with the meatballs. Similar to our meatball pie, but today we have extra lean hay-fed ground beef. And we're just going to put that on here. We're going to make sure the cowgirl's locked down, and we're going to put this on stir. You're going to need a cup to 2 cups of breadcrumbs. Let's get our seasonings in here. We're going to put in about a tablespoon of onion powder. Sometimes I put diced onion in, but sometimes I'd rather save the onion for the sauce when I'm making a sauce. We're going to put in a tablespoon, or half a tablespoon of ground garlic, a 3-finger pinch of salt, a couple of good grinds, fresh ground black pepper. We want our meatballs to have separate flavor from the sauce. Now we're going to add 1 fresh egg. It's really simple meatballs. And about a cup to a cup and a half of breadcrumbs. This is from my 2-day-old sourdough, so it's going to good use. Alright, we're going to let this mix. And we'll see you guys at the table because I'm going to sit down and roll my meatballs. Alrighty, first off we've got our crock pot because yes, that's how we're doing it. And I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil right into the bottom, just so that our meatballs don't stick. And whenever you're doing a crock pot recipe, you really need to put some kind of liquid in the bottom of your crock pot. So now, and it's only about 12:30 in the afternoon. So this is one of those things you can make up and put in the crock pot and let it simmer until about 3 or 4 o'clock, and then you add your sauce. Alright folks, here's our crock pot meatballs, and we're going to put these on high for a couple of hours, and then we're going to start preparing the sauce. Okay, let's get our veggies ready for our sauce. I don't put anything in with the meatballs until they are mostly cooked. But you know what? I can remember people when I was growing up that would just open some meat and some onion and fry it up and add a jar of sauce. Now, yes, folks, I do use jarred sauce. Okay? Sometimes I make it, from scratch when I'm canning and stuff, when I have a lot of tomatoes. But jarred sauce, especially if it comes in a glass jar, is not a big deal because it's what you do with the jar of sauce that makes it your own spaghetti recipe. So there is our onion. Let's do our pepper. I haven't washed these veggies yet, so that's why they're all going into this strainer, because we're of course going to wash them. And since all we have in there for green is green pepper, I don't discount onions. I always count them as a vegetable, but I like green. So let's cut the tops off of these. And now I'm going to take the bottoms off this celery, and I'm going to try and sprout this. So when after this we'll do that. But this is going to the piggies. Whatever I don't use of the celery, and we're only going to use a few stalks. But whatever I don't use, I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put some water in this and put it in the fridge, and that will keep your celery fresh. Remember to curl your fingers when you're getting close with that knife, folks. You don't want to take the tip of a finger off. Alrighty, I'll be right back. I'm going to go rinse my vegetables, and then I'm going to show you the seasonings I'm going to put in. Okay, here's our vegetables. Now, like I said, we're not going to put these in right away until the meat is more cooked. But I've got my peppers, my onions, my celery, and I also have a can of mushrooms I drained and put in there. Here's what I've done with my celery base, okay? It isn't, I can't tip it to show you. It's in a jar, and I've just put the bottom in the jar, and I filled it up to the rim with water so that a good inch of the rootstock is in the water. And let's just see what we can do with that, shall we? Now, we're just going to our veggies, we're just going to add, of course, some of my dehydrated flake garlic and some parsley and some Italian seasoning. This is pretty much just oregano and basil, and I'm out of basil, so we're just going to put a little bit in there because I'm not overly fond of a lot of oregano. All right, so when the meatballs are more cooked, we'll add that. Alrighty, here's our meatballs, and they're quite nicely browned. So now we're going to add our vegetables with our extra seasonings. Then I'm just going to add, and get it open, just a jar of spaghetti sauce. Remember, folks, it's not necessarily the sauce that you buy, because you make it your own. And I'm going to add a jar of just plain pureed tomato sauce. Now, rather than a wooden spoon, I'm going to take a spatula because I don't want to break up my meatballs. But I just want to kind of get under them just to let the sauce, if you can see it bubbling, that's the air bubbles under the meatballs coming up. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more garlic because we love the garlic. And some fresh ground pepper and a 3-finger pinch of salt. Isn't that beautiful? Alrighty. We're going to leave this on high for another hour or so until it comes up to a simmer, and then we're going to turn it down to low, and we'll see you guys at dinner. It's spit and go on night, and there is our wonderful spaghetti and meatball sauce. Yummy! Let's get down to the table. Alright, folks. It's a slapdash meal tonight. Well, anybody who's seen how I made the meatballs today knows it really wasn't slapdash, but here we go. See if we can get pocket to the table. Do you want Parmesan under your sauce or over or both?
Just on top.
Just on top. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this wonderful spaghetti and meatball sauce. Look at that. A little bit more salt.
Extra.
All right, let's put some Parmesan cheese on there for Papa.
Extra protein. That's right.
Stick a fork in her. She's done. You can help yourself, Brian.
Or you can help me.
Wow. Can you not taste it before you put the pepper on, please?
Everything gets pepper.
Now you try those meatballs. They're a special. I don't do meatballs that often. Hot. Really hot.
And you should have waited for it to cool down.
Well, Angus is outside and he's crying because he can smell the spaghetti and meatballs.
Very tasty.
Spaghetti and meatball night. You gotta love it.